every family member that we have at some point is going to get up and leave. Who's your partner? That's it. Like you buy your tombstone the same day you buy your ring, right? It's like we're going to the grave together.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Couple Things
with Shawn and Andrew,
a podcast all about couples
and the things that they go through.
Today's interview, I felt like could have gone on for hours because it's Andrew's like bro of all bros, Jordan Mathews, and his wife, Cheyna Williams Mathews, who this might be like the most boss couple we've ever interviewed.
Yeah.
Just because they're probably the most athletic couple I've ever met in my entire life.
So a high-level intro is this. Jordan Mathews was a teammate of mine from Vanderbilt. He ended up getting drafted in the second round to the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yes.
He married another Vanderbilt student, Cheyna Williams, now Mathews, who played in the World Cup.
Who's also
in
drafted.
soccer. Yeah, who's playing professional soccer.
She was like drafted first.
She's insane.
She's insane.
Both
She's
of them,
insane.
both of them are incredible athletes. They have 2 kids now, and we kind of relived some old memories. We tried to crop this episode down to make it approachable for everyone to listen to because Jordan and Cheyna had some really good things to say too. I enjoyed their perspective on things and how they approach their relationship. They have so much going on in their lives. Jordan is he's bouncing from team to team to team. He's been on a couple teams the past couple of years. And as we know, that can affect your lifestyle, especially as you're growing a family. And Cheyna is pursuing her professional career. They're actually right now in Louisville. They're also starting a sportswear company called Seed and Sweat, which is an amazing group of tights and athletic wear.
Maternity.
Yes.
But done right. So you can actually be active and it work. I think one of my favorite things about this interview is you see how each, person in this relationship respectively is going at it 110% for their dreams and their ambitions and their goals.
Yeah.
And they're succeeding and they're gaining the world's attention, but yet they've figured out how to do that alongside each other in such a respectful way to, not compromise trust and to still support one another and love one another and show each other how excited they are. It was really cool to hear how they're going about doing this in such a boss way.
Yeah, it was cool to see how they're both very ambitious and both pursuing those ambitions, but keeping each other as the first priority. So if you want to find out more about what Jordan and Shane are up to, we'll link their information down below. We used to call Jordan JMatt 3 times because that was his social media handles, which I still think it is. But we'll link it down below. Okay. And also, before we jump into it, we wanted to start a new section in the intros, babe, which is the comment of the week. So last week we did the episode on communication where we shared 10 lessons that we've learned in communicating, and it seems like a lot of people enjoyed that.
And we talked a lot about expectations of time.
Yes.
Which is funny because we've had some run-ins with time in the past couple of days.
That's true. And actually, the comment of the week this week is from Anna, who said, one thing that works for my spouse and I is to share our locations with each other if we have iPhones, which I feel like there's a mixed bag on that. If people are comfortable doing that or not, I feel like I skew on not being a fan of that. Do you? I think we do share each other's location, but we never look at it.
I'm a fan of it, not to like snoop on you, but to not be the wife that's like asking you every 5 minutes, where are you? I think it'd be really easy to use at the end of the day when it's like, oh, I wonder if he's on his way home.
Yeah.
And instead of calling you or bothering you, being like, check where it is. But yeah, I think it's a blurred line. That's hard.
Yeah.
I think that's on a case-by-case basis.
Let us know where you stand on that issue. And also, we will be doing comment of the week in every intro. We'll try to, I should say.
Yeah, so leave us some comments to talk about.
Yeah, and while you're at it, subscribe to the show and give it a rating on whatever platform you're listening on. We love hearing your feedback. We love doing this show for you, so we'd love to continue. And doing that helps us do that. So let's go ahead and jump into this one with Jordan and Cheyna Mathews. I got to say, I don't know if I've ever been more excited. I don't know if I've ever been more excited or maybe even nervous for an interview, Jordan, because
really?
I feel like we're just going to blast each other the whole... We've been through some phases together, bro.
We have been.
It's crazy to think back on.
I remember.
Yeah.
When you first was like, yo, like...
Yeah.
Wait.
Like, are you sure she likes you? Though?
I want to hear this.
No, we don't need to hear that. But once again,
you might not get to hear, but you want.
I want to.
You want to hear this, like.
But once again, I find myself in a room where I am the worst athlete here. We have Olympian, first round pick in the soccer draft, second round pick in the NFL draft, and then freaking me.
Don't forget the last person to commit to Vanderbilt was 2014.
That's right. I was
class. But I was next to last, so we were right there together. It was me, you, and Carrie, I think.
The last three. I was just brushing up on your story. So let's give people the background on how we know each other, and then we'll expand into our significant others.
Can I tell you have something in your teeth first?
Okay. Well, that's a tough start.
I don't mind. Let's keep it going.
You got it.
How do we know each other? Okay, so honestly, we can just do this, just me and you, bro.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what's going to end up happening. But yeah, so me and obviously both of us, we were the last like 2 or 3 guys signed to that class with Bobby Johnson, his last staff at Vanderbilt, and it was crazy because I thought that my story was kind of unique because I didn't have an offer like all throughout high school. So I literally got to my last game in high school. It was like around Thanksgiving. I had none on the table. No Jackson State, Alabama A&M, DeVry University online, like nothing, bro. I had nothing. And I'm serious. East.
Look at Shayna roll the eyes already.
It was bad, bro. Like I literally ran into an Alabama A&M coach at Publix, and I had my highlight film in the car. I went in to my car, grabbed it, and gave it to him. Like I was like trying to put out mixtapes. Yeah, like bro, like check out my work.
I didn't hear this story.
He did not call me back. So at some point, I'm just like, okay, this young ain't gonna work out. Well, I went to a Vanderbilt camp that summer, did well in it. They kept my number. Bradley Roby, I think he plays for the Texans now.
Yeah,
he was committed to that class. He decommits, and then I end up getting that scholarship, and that's my only one I have at home, right? And so I'm thinking, okay, I'm the last one. There's nobody got a situation like me, right? Then we had the tragedy happen, right?
With
Rajon Bennett.
Yep.
He passed away, and so he got killed. Obviously, rest in peace to Rajon, protecting his mom. From I think one of her exes. It was a bad situation at home. I hope I don't butcher that story, but then there was a scholarship open.
Yeah,
I think that was you, right?
Yeah,
you got that scholarship. So because of a tragedy in somebody else's family, you know what I'm saying, you end up coming in, and we're just like, and you was like on signing day or something. It was super.
I don't know. It was past
signing
April.
day.
It was 2 months after.
Yeah, it was crazy. Like I think we'd already had our loggers, and like, we got another guy coming. and so it was just, man, it was crazy because obviously getting to know you was nothing short of a blessing. And I just remember you and Carrie totally changed my outlook on just how people can box themselves in, right? Like Carrie can be like, okay, I'm a kicker, and so all I do is kick. But Carrie used to get after it.
He was crazy.
And I remember he used to always try and pigeonhole you. He's like, oh, you're a long snapper. Remember, I always be like, no, forget that, bro. You're not. And I loved that. I wasn't convincing you more than anything. I was just continuing to encourage you because you knew that you were more than that too. You knew you were like a linebacker. So that was just fun, that back and forth we always had.
Well, it's fun to have this conversation. I knew Jordan was going to tell that story about how he was underdog. Always. Jordan 3 times is what your Twitter handle was. I remember, first of all, this guy didn't have a smartphone, but he decided to create a Twitter handle.
Yeah, Kenny Ladler helped me make it. That should explain the name. Yeah.
And part of that was the 3 stars, right, that you came at.
It's 2 stars.
Oh,
no, it's okay. It's okay. The J-Mac came because remember how Coach Franklin used to not let us go out, right? So he never let us go out. So
training is on.
Training's on. When training was on, we could not go out. And okay, maybe you weren't invited to this session because we knew you didn't have no bars, but we ended up making a mixtape. We did. We made a training on the mixtape. East, we love you, but we didn't give you that invite. You know what I'm saying? It's all good. It's all good. I'm not going to tell you. The mixtape is still out there. I'm not going to tell anybody where to find it. I almost want to.
No, I know where to find it. I'll know where to find it. I'm going to link it down below because you didn't invite me.
Don't go find it. I'll never be able to run for office or anything because it's embarrassing. But basically, there was that old song. It was like racks on racks on racks. And I was like, okay, I just made a song, J-Matt, and I crushed it, obviously. And so then you got to know, if y'all know Kenny Ladler, if nobody, your fathers heard it, like Kenny's obviously one of our favorite teammates, super funny. But Kenny used to always talk real slow. It was intelligent, but he used to talk real slow. And so he was telling me to make my Twitter. He said, hey, bro, you got to put that J-Matt 3 times. You know how Kenny talks. And so I'm like, and I'm just like, yeah, let's do it. And so it's been that way for years. Like, I know people that play with the NFL that be like, what up, J-Matt? And they have no idea the origin, but
3 times.
It's stuck 3 times, man. They come in threes.
We'll get to the girls here in a second. I'm loving this. I do have to say, the one thing that makes me so proud when I look back on our class at Vanderbilt is we were all that type of, like, I feel like coming out of high school, I'm going to say this, don't be offended, like marginally talented, you know, we had the skill, but maybe not the exposure.
Right.
And then, but we wanted it more than anybody else.
Right.
You had this, you know, let me just run back to my car. And first of all, you still had the CD highlight tape that you gave to the coach.
Oh man, I think he's in the trash.
It's right.
Yeah.
I remember I put together an email list of every special teams coach in D1, and I sent him an email and the link to my highlight tape. Yeah. And I was like, I'm not getting recruited at all. I'm going to send 150 emails and make sure this happens. And it panned out. So that's what I love about the class. Yeah. The one thing I respect about you, the leadership that you had, the vision, I feel like, and the energy from day one. It was crazy. 2-star J-Matt, but you were the leader of the class and making it happen for, I think, setting the tone of like, what does it look like to have a winning culture at a place that didn't exist at.
Right, 100%.
It didn't exist at, man. And you freaking led that charge. And then I feel like our class was a big part of that. But last story that I'll tell about J-Matt, and then I want to hear about how you two met, because I remember this too.
This is Power Clean story?
The Power Clean story. I have to. It's my favorite story. It changed my life. So first of all, the way I remember it.
Everybody knows, like,
you're getting
nobody knows about this. Like, I did not know you were going to say that. I just had a feeling like you're going to bring up the Power Clean story. Yeah.
So the way I remember it, J-Matt was not even like a meathead. He didn't really like the weight room that much.
No, I did not.
I was the guy. Like, that's where
the long snapper.
It was the only time that I could have like. It's like
you said she was going to take jabs at you. Was that the first one?
Yes. It's coming, bro.
More than a long snapper. Y'all have those more than an athlete hoodies?
Yes.
We're getting more than a long snapper. We're going to sell that junk. But patent that while we're on here, because somebody's going to try and steal that.
Okay, it's patented.
It's done. It's trademark.
So senior year is your last year there. We had first of all, our weight coach made us do some ridiculous things. It would be like, you have 30 seconds to get as many 225 deadlifts as you can, or power clean 225. You remember all that stuff. It was but we were just doing power clean max. And J-Matt was always in the corner, kind of quiet, didn't really like cause a scene. For 4 years it was like this until this day. And all of a sudden, and also he was a scrawny little thing. He's freaking ripped now, dude. I can't believe this.
Yeah.
Andrew did come home after bringing our daughter to the workout place, and he's like, have you seen J-Matt?
Huge. I can't believe it. Anyway, so power clean day, all of a sudden in the corner I hear some weights clanging around. I'm like, wow, well, usually J-Matt is not throwing around weights that make noise usually.
No, at all. It's very quiet.
So I see him do 225 power clean. I was like, I'm pretty sure that's his max ever. Yeah. Then he's like, hey, put on the Kanye. Put on the yay. We're going for it today. God. So he turns on power, I think it was.
Yeah.
225, crushed it. You put on 245, crushed it. Put on 265, crushed it. Yeah. You put on 275. You were like 30% more weight than you've ever done. And just jamming to Kanye. And you threw it up, and it was like, oh my God, let's go, dude.
Yeah, it was about the vibe. Yeah. I think, but at that point, I think it was pretty well known, like, that I was a big, like, Kanye fan.
This dude went to a Kanye concert. He got the microphone. First of all, he got the microphone.
Cheyna can insert herself in this part. That day, it was the Max Clean day. I'm like, hey, put the yay on. Let's throw this weight, because I don't want to hear from Andrew Easy no more about my weight. You know what I mean? So that was it.
Well, you've always been so interesting to me, because you've balanced like this fierce intensity with with like a wild sense of humor, like in the best way. And I feel like Cheyna has the same thing. First of all, she keeps you in line, but using Kanye as a pivot to your relationship. Yeah. There's a song that Ye put out on his Bipolar album called Wouldn't Leave. Yes. Shawn makes fun of me all the time for saying this, but I actually think it's the most romantic song.
I believe it.
About, I actually, maybe it's the most accurate to marriage that I've ever heard. Right. It's all about the concept of that dude said some crazy stuff. And Kim, this was,
and vice
things
versa.
have changed.
Yeah.
Kim was always right there. And we did Family Feud the same season that Kim and Kanye did. I'll never forget the way that they look at each other. I was like, that's actually love. Yeah. There's like love there. Anyway, using that and Kanye as a pivot, tell us about how you met.
Go ahead. I'll let you go ahead and lead it.
Well, apparently he and his teammates already had a joke that he thought, I don't know what name he used to call me. Because I never.
Huh?
Naomi Campbell.
I didn't know this.
Yeah. I mean, just famous, model.
Casual.
Definitely. But but it's just being real. She's more on the chocolate side. And I was like, man, she looked like Naomi Campbell. Because we used to, because you know how McGugan is, like the Hendrix room, when you walk in.
It's like a catwalk almost.
Yeah.
Anybody, Andrew, let me just say this. When he walked in, it was like, there's Andrew.
Yeah.
There's Andrew. Then he had the long hair. And then he had the short hair.
But here's the thing about Andrew. Here's the thing about Hendrix, though. See, the good guys of the world, the Andrew Eases, the Carrie Spears, Casey Hughes,
Jordan, all those guys coming in. Well, I remember.
I'm talking about where we were sitting. I'm talking about when the girls will walk in. There's the girls
That's
walk
also
in
true
this way, right?
Yeah.
And there's a seat right here, so where you're sitting, like you don't see the women walking in. And that's where Andrew would sit. He just didn't care. He was just focused on the Lord and football. Now,
same like you, right?
The 13 guys, no, I sat on the other side. I wanted to know what the talent was coming to the school. So since Cheyna walks in and she's just like, she's not. Now, I know the Lord said he wouldn't flood the earth twice, but her pants were kind of short that day. And I'm like,
that's what
she had some Nike shots.
I've had problems with athletic wear.
I remember those pants.
Yeah. You do. And so, you think it's raining right now. And so she was flooding, right? And she had some Nike shots. I remember like it was yesterday, man, some Nike shots, a Vanderbilt soccer shirt. And she had this...
Which it's worth noting, Nike Shocks were like...
They were gone.
They were all the way gone.
Who has these? But
wait, were they in 2000?
No, they weren't. They were gone.
They were gone. All right.
So she walks in, though, and I'm just like, holy cow. Like, she looks like... just from the legs... to the face.
Okay,
hold on. Because I got to know you later. We'll get to when I get to know you. No, they need to hear this. Because I was just like, because Cheyna, and I tell Cheyna this all the time, every guy has, just be honest, a dream girl. Like they just, like, and so when you see it, you just know. And I saw Cheyna and I'm like, I don't know if this girl is a nice person at all. Right now, I don't care. She looked so beautiful to me. And I was like, but I was immature. So what happens right here when it comes out here is not always the best. So I was like, I told my boy, man, that's Naomi Campbell right there. And so I started that whole thing. And like,
I had no idea.
Yeah, we were calling her Naomi Campbell. We didn't even know her name the first
Anyway, so I guess from that point, he knew who I was, but I didn't know him. I was like, I was on my lane, I'm playing soccer.
Yeah.
I'm there to do my thing or whatever. I had a teammate that was same year as you guys, which that's where we got our dog's name from, Kendra Hendricks.
Oh,
you remember
I
Kendra?
Remember Kendra?
Yeah. So her and Jordan were pretty good friends, I would say, because they've been in school together. Mm-hmm. And I was in the hallway with her, and Jordan comes down. This, the what hall is that called? Is there a name for it? In McGugan, when you look at the football locker room, it's that long hallway.
Oh, it's like the Wall of Fame or something.
Yeah, Wall of Fame, yeah. So Kendra and I were walking in from somewhere, and then he comes up, and he's like, "What's up, Kendra?" And, he has to, like, announce that he knows her. I'm like, okay, that's his friend. Like, cool. Who's this guy? He's so loud. Anyways, he goes, oh oh, I'm Jordan. He introduces himself to me. I'm like, oh, I'm Cheyna or whatever. And he's like, well, nice to see you guys. And she goes, yeah, well, we're hungry. We're about to go get something to eat. And he was like, y'all want to go get something to eat? I could take y'all to Chili's. And I'm like,
it was on the card.
It
was prayed for it.
He's like, yeah, it's on me. You know, I'm like, all right, free food. I don't got to swipe. I'm like, I don't have to use my swipe. I get free food. Kendra, are you busy? All right, cool. So
no tip.
We went. All three of us went to Chili's, and little did Kendra know she would have been the third wheel on that.
Yeah.
He didn't talk to her once. I'm like, I thought they were friends, like, but he was really just using that opportunity to like talk to me as like a friend. But like at the time, I was just thinking like, okay, he's really friendly. This kid is crazy funny. And I was like, okay, we could be like friends. Like I could probably be friends with him how Kendra was friends with him. And so that's kind of how we met. We just kind of hit it off, became really, really, really good friends.
Yeah, I definitely think too what made us get close too was we had similar interests.
Yeah.
We were both focused enough to where like we only got together at the pub, and that's when we meet every Monday at the pub. We meet and we just like hang out and just talk.
And the pub is it was like the one restaurant in Vanderbilt's like building.
Yeah. And we weren't dating at the time, so I took that opportunity to always bash whoever she thought she liked at the moment.
That's a good idea.
I never liked anyone but you.
Yeah, I know, but
Duh.
I know, but but we would just have this back and forth, and so I always felt like that was always just very like genuine. It wasn't something like, okay, who's this girl that's overly interested in what I'm doing as a football player? She really just didn't care, and it was authentic. Then and so we would always had that back and forth too. That was just like awesome. Then the music interest.
Yeah,
she was a big J. Cole fan.
Really
big J. Cole fan. And so she so we used to always trade music back and forth, and that was
Drake albums, like that was like a big one. We both I think the artist we both liked the same at the time was Drake. Yeah. And everybody liked Drake, but like we like to really dissect Drake. Like, okay, did you listen to Tuscan Leather?
Like what did he say? Why do you think that?
Yeah, we used to do a lot of.
And then I would say there were two moments that I think were big for us. So one, I never gotten really like deep with like a girl at that time with just like how I view like life and everything. Everybody who knows me knows I'm very like spiritual, and so I don't just like take things as they are. I'm like, okay, that's what it is. And so me and Cheyna, we were up in her room talking, and we were just hanging out, and I just told her about my thought about time. I said, it's so weird. I'm like, I look forward to something, and then when it gets there, I'm already thinking about the fact that it's already going to end soon. And I just wish I could just stop something for once. I wish I could just get in the moment and I could just stop it, And I mean, I guess I was kind of
He meant it in a he meant it in like a... At this point, I was like, I think he really likes me.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, I think he like likes me.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's like, I wish I could just like stop time. And I was like, what?
Right. And
okay.
And to that point is like marriage is kind of a way to do that. Yeah. I mean, it's a sleepover with your best friend every night. If you're truly best friends with that person, like me and Shane, like we can look at it like we're just a married couple trying to grind through it, or it's like we're best friends. We'll sleep over every night. You want to watch a movie tonight? You want to go out to eat? I mean, we literally like our parents came in last night, and I was like, okay, I'll call this random restaurant. Let's go eat. And I mean, like, I
got dressed up. I had like worn clothes and however long.
And we just went like, it's like you're hanging out with your friend. We talked about some of everything we had. Happy conversation. We laughed. We had sad conversation. We talked about people. What they were wearing,
people watching.
Yeah, people watch for sure.
It's the best thing.
Oh yeah,
it's the best thing.
Yeah, and so that was just one of those things where it's like, because our kids, we have young kids right now, Josiah and Lionel. We love them to death, but the Bible says like, your kids are like arrows, right? Mm-hmm. You aim it at a target, and you shoot it. It's not a boomerang, right? Mm-hmm. So every family member that we have at some point is going to get up and leave. Who's your partner? That's it. Like. You buy your tombstone the same day you buy your ring, right? It's like we're going to the grave together. And so I feel like us being like to stop time, like I was, as we were talking about that, I was kind of already putting like that out there, I guess, that I think we're going to figure out how to do this. So that was a deep conversation we had. I'd always find a way to ruin it though.
Yeah. Oh,
I used to always find a way to ruin it.
Can I tell my Ruby Tuesday story?
No. That's later. I was going to make the joke that
started Chili's.
we were also being very like, you know, we were doing it the right way. Yeah. I used to always be like, you know what, if we made a mistake, like, I would not be upset if you had my children. Like, so that also, I guess, was foreshadowing, but it took the romantic part out of that conversation. Yeah. You were like, all right,
I'm like, what is he talking about?
I would jump. But that moment was a big one, though, because I was just like, she didn't like think I was weird. She was like, she really like sat there and she just listened to me as I was trying to like figure this whole thing out.
I'm still the listener in our relationship.
Still the listener.
I could tell.
Yeah, he'll call me. He'll call, and I sometimes like he doesn't know I put the phone on mute because I've got like kids running around. I'm like, stop, Josiah, but I can multitask. He gets on the phone. It's like he has something he has to say. I'm like, I want him to feel like he can just say it. You know. Yeah. So I'm definitely the listener. I let him kind of. I'm the soundboard for sure.
Yeah, I don't know that a guy and a girl can be just friends. Like you thought, oh, J-Matt just wants to hang out.
I also believe that now.
You do believe that
in
now?
marriage? Oh, yes, absolutely. Because he's like, you know, this person, they like wanted a book recommendation or this or that. I'm like,
no,
that's
exactly.
No. I'm like, well, give her your email. Give her my email.
Yeah.
We're not, you know, so I also agree.
Yeah, I definitely, yeah, for sure. Because it's like, if somebody would not mind.
Yes, one of the two.
If the situation escalates.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, I'm not saying both people are like, this is
the
actively wanting it
intentionality.
to, but if the girl is like, hey, like then the guy will probably most of the time, yeah, cool. Yeah, or vice versa.
Yeah.
So
you're the worst of that. You used to come home and you're like, oh, I got 10 girls' numbers because they were interested in like a book or something. I'm like, oh, okay.
I've been there.
Two. I can't even try.
Continually, there'd be one girl. And he'd be like, oh, she just wants to go get coffee. She needs to like run stuff by me. I'm like, no, she doesn't.
I've been there.
Have not done that in marriage. I have not.
Ease. You're not alone, bro.
You're not. I'm glad I'm not alone. Yeah. I'm like, surely other people's husbands not out here being nice to people for no reason.
Week.
I should not have brought this up. Clearly,
you're good.
This is great.
No, this is what I think couples things is about, though.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so serious because one thing that me and Cheyna pride ourselves on is like, bro, we're not about to try and ever act like we're perfect. That's one thing we're not going to act like. We're not going to act like we don't have disagreements or we have to like grow through things. Yeah. Like naturally, bro, I am a very friendly person. Very friendly.
And I think about friendly, you got to think from my perspective, I'm like, how friendly was he with me? And we're married now with 2 kids. All right. So that's where my mind goes. I'm like,
same with Andrew.
That's how we started.
Yeah. And so, but like in our minds, we're like, well, as men and, men that lift, we're very, I would say we feel like we're in control of most situations. So we're like, well, she's not a threat because I know where I stand, on this. But at the same time, it's more of a, for our women, like this is what Shane always talked to me about. It's like, I don't want to leave a stone unturned. I don't ever want, because I could have a bad month and I don't ever want there to even be a window for somebody to possibly try and be like, hey, how are you doing? That needs to only be open to her. And so I get it, but those are conversations that I think have to be had in marriage, especially when like our trainer, Jeremy, plop him right there in the group because he's naturally a friendly person. He's conversational. Yeah. And I hope this isn't over the top, but I think most people understand like a lot of ladies, they like attention. So sometimes they might not even want the situation to escalate. But if they can get attention, if they get attention from a guy who is attractive, responsible, things like that, I'm not saying I'm trying to say Andrew is.
You're describing yourself.
So I'm saying you. They're not gonna say no to it, and it's just like, okay, where does that stop? So it's definitely a conversation to be had. But I think it's very cool because like, I mean, like naturally, like a guy like Andrew, like he's going to have that same mindset of like, I knew when I was going to find like my wife, like there was a courting process that was going to happen. It wasn't like whimsical dating. It's just like no, like there's intention behind why we're talking, what we're doing. So I'm 100% going to enter into the woman's frame who I'm interested in. I'm going to get to know you. I'm going to want you to feel safe. All these things, but there's that switch happens when like can a woman also enter into your frame and still feel comfortable around your friends? You know what I'm saying? Be that person. Like I feel like I can go to a shindig or whatever with Cheyna, and Shayna's just gonna be all up on me, like needing me the whole time to feel comfortable. She can also be like, kick it. I remember when you guys came to the charity game, and that was my first time really getting, it's like, no, you, Shawn. And before I knew, I was like, all right, Shawn. You know what I mean? Like, it was just so cool. And
I wasn't there, I don't think.
Yeah. You weren't able to go at that time. But it was just like, I think for a man, that's always big. Like you hear those stories of guys talk all the time, like, oh yeah, my girl, like, she was like, sit right there when I play video games. And it's like he just sounds so happy. But it's just because sometimes that's a hard thing to find in a partner, and we've definitely found that.
Well, we found that, but it didn't all go that way.
It didn't all go that way. There was definitely some ups and downs.
So
sure.
He did all this to make me like him.
Yes.
To then go and tell me.
Okay, but you gotta set the question first, and then why I gave the answer.
I'd rather see. He likes to give the long roundabout way of telling things, and I just get straight to the point. He told me that there was a 2 out of 10%. No, 2 out of 10 chance that we would actually end up together.
Yes.
After all this.
Yeah.
He just, after all this, talk about confused.
So specific too, by
I was
the way.
transferring.
I was going to say,
yeah.
You two are very similar.
Yeah, okay. Yes.
It's like foot and mouth syndrome. You guys would have both said things where I'm like,
yeah, it's like, exactly. That's how I ended up at Florida State.
Yeah.
We won a national championship my first year there. That was the first one ever. School history.
Finals MVP.
Sick. Okay.
She ain't gonna say it.
Hey.
Thanks.
Nice.
Yeah,
but it was like a dream come true. And I actually had the confidence like going into like the draft and stuff like that once I was done. But Jordan knew, rewind, that I was transferring and the reasons why I was transferring. And he was kind of along with that process when I was going on different visits to figure out like what was a good fit for me leaving Vanderbilt. And he actually was preparing for the draft. Yep. So, but we sat there at the pub, the place we went every Monday. And I was like, so now that we know, how we feel about each other, you're about to go into the draft. I'm transferring to Florida State. We're leaving Vanderbilt. So where do we kind of go from here? And he's like, he just sits there. He's like, I really know. I'm like, all right, well, give me a number. Give me a number. 1 to 10, 0 to 10. Like, what do you think our chances are of like actually making this work? And he goes, without even thinking for 2 seconds, he goes, I'd say about a 2. I was like, I think I was eating like buffalo quesadillas or something. So like, I'm like choking off them at this point. Like, wait, what? 2 out of 10? And that's like, a confidence killer. Cause I'm like, after all this, you told me 2 out of 10? And he goes, yeah, I just, I see myself going to the draft and, you're going to be leaving and I just don't see myself getting serious with anyone to that point. I'm all this stuff. Basically like, yeah, this was fun for now, but now I'm about to leave and be on to bigger and better things, basically is what I'm hearing. I'm just like, wow. So
it was
okay.
2 out of 10.
So here's
Andrew, 2 out of 10.
Here's what happened too. You gotta remember, like before the unknown, you always think is going to be better than what you're around right now. And what's funny is we have friends right now
that are
always at this place right now and they're like 28, 29, 30. Like, hey, who are you talking to now? And they're back talking to that girl that they were with in high school or college. And so we think, okay, well, I'm not where I need to be to make a decision like this. But what I had been missing out on was the fact that Cheyna had been she'd been walking with me through some of the biggest pivotal years of my development in my life. And I didn't know how much that was going to matter to me to be with somebody who was with me when I was just unknown. You know, that's why we love each other, bro. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so but I just assumed like, okay, I'm going to go to the NFL. What are the chances of us still being together after I see that world? Because you think it's going to be all these things. And then it literally took us 2.5 years to end up me being single and me being like, I want.
And I got drafted to DC.
And she got drafted to DC.
He was in Philly at the time.
Yeah.
I got drafted to.
So you guys went separate ways.
Yeah.
Yes.
You guys broke up.
Yes.
Dated other people.
We never even
And
dated.
we never
That's the crazy part.
dated.
No one, it's so funny because like his parents, like it's when I came into the picture, they didn't know me from like Adam Eve.
Yeah,
they're like, who is this
was.
girl? Okay, she went to school with you. They had no idea. Now your mom knows because I'm like, me and your son were like best friends in school. I went to all the games. I saw you guys. I just never, I'm just kind of like because it was like an awkward place where like you had a girlfriend from like home for a little bit.
And I just think too,
like,
I think you were also like, I'm not meeting them until he introduced me.
Yeah.
Like you were
and
not
he
about
was
to
not
like
pressed. Yeah, I wasn't gonna go impose myself on like his family. And he never made a point to like introduce me to anyone. So like no one knew about me except like Justin, who his brother. I actually followed him on like Twitter or something. And
so then here's when everything kind of got a little bit more weird. So then Cheyna starts ascending in Florida State. She also starts dating.
Yeah.
Now
Then
once she started dating, I'm like, okay, well, I can't talk to you at all. You're actually really dating somebody.
So we didn't talk at all.
Yeah, it didn't talk at all. No communication at
Yeah.
all. It's probably like my second year in the league. And about that time, that's really when I started taking my spirituality seriously. Yeah. Like I will say this, and this is in all seriousness. Like I used to have a ton of respect for you and Carrie because I know people would always throw like the perfect label on y'all. I'm like, look, these guys aren't perfect, but I would say I'm like they.
You guys
at least
were perfect in our eyes.
Yeah, they were.
Vanderbilt soccer.
They thought Andrews was perfect.
Was perfect.
And I'm going to be honest. I've never on record. I've never seen him sin. But look, here's what I'll say. Sean's like,
oh my gosh! I just remember how you can blush because literally. Yeah. I can't name one, but if anyone, you could go to any athlete in Magoogan and be like, have you seen Andrew? Yes, he had on the tank. He had on the white tank, gray shorts.
Hold on, for the record, I never wore tank tops. So Cheyna, don't try to say I was wearing tank tops.
The white tank.
You had the nipples out and everything.
Look, like I think I may have just seen Andrew East without a shirt on. May or may not have just seen Andrew East without a shirt on.
But
that was his status for sure.
But definitely, I definitely knew. I was like, these guys take their spirituality seriously, and I think that's something that anybody, even somebody who doesn't believe, can respect that. Since somebody who actually says, hey, I don't just have this book on my shelf. I actually crack it open and I read it. Y'all were very close to Brother B. And so that's what I respected about y'all. Well, I finally got around some dudes on the Eagles that were so steady. And I tell people all the time, like my spiritual journey took off when I started seeing the highs and lows of the NFL and I was around a couple of guys that just stayed right here. Yeah. They'd have bad days, good days, but they never just seemed like they were just off the rocker. And they were Nick Foles, Trey Burton, Chris Maragos, Zach Ertz, you can throw Carson Wentz in there. And then there's a bunch of other guys too. I mean, guys had big impacts on me. I can't leave out guys like, Brandon Graham, his positivity, Malcolm Jenkins, his leadership, what he does in the community. Those guys inspired a ton. But when I got around those believers, man, they were just like this, no matter what happened. And so after a while, I was like, you come into NFL, want rings, you want championships. But I was like, I just want this. No matter what in life, I just want to feel like that. And so, but what I noticed was all these guys were married. They had kids. They did not talk about marriage was the end all be all. And I talk about it like it was scary. And you know how it is when you're growing up and you're a believer, you think you don't get serious about God until you're old and about to die, right? It's like, okay, well, I'm old now, so of course I've had my fun. Now here's when I get serious about God. I started seeing guys who were serious about the Lord that looked just like me. They dressed just like me. They had the same temptations as me. and I saw the impact it had on their life. So I'm like, that's it. Like, I got to get serious about this. And I had the foundation too. Like my parents, you know, they're strong believers. My mom would play gospel all the time in the house. She's like, we don't have a TV in our bedroom. We don't have the TV playing at all. When Josiah gets that age where he's done watching, you know, PBS all day.
The like, PBS app.
We won't have the TV on, man. I have candles going. I have gospel jazz music playing, man. That's my day. That's our house. And my mom set that tone, you know, and our dad set the tone of getting us up, getting us in the word, taking us to church. So I'm not acting like I didn't have that foundation. It just had not become real. Once I got around those guys, I started this journey of saying, you know what? I'm going to watch how I live. I'm going to watch how I date. I'm going to start looking for a wife. Like not just these flings anymore. Like I'm going to be intentional about people who I spend time with. And so when I started dating, Cheyna has somebody right now. She's dating someone. I don't know how that situation's going, but I'm just like, hey, like at this point, honestly, I wasn't thinking about Cheyna. I'll tell you when Cheyna popped up again, though. As I was dating, you start to figure out what matters to me. And I tell people all the time, if I had 4 things, there was 3, then it became 4.
Okay.
Number 1, had to be attractive to somebody. I'm saying my 3.
Oh, okay. I'm like, okay.
You know, you date for a while and you figure out like, oh, this is what I wanted to make. So number 1, I had to be attracted to the person I was with. It just the facts. And I told y'all already that happened the first day I saw Shane. Number 2, the person had to have the ability to be a best friend. I had to be able to go from lover to homie. I gotta be able to have that mix. Cause Cheyna, we'll be driving the car and I'll start, I mean, you know I can rap. So I'll just start freestyling every once in a while just to be funny. Like I have that playful side to me. It can't be Romeo and Juliet all the time. Sometimes it just has to be like we kicking it. And me and my wife can kick it, like for real. And I kick it with her family. She can kick it with mine. It's just fun. Number 3, the person had to love God more than me. And I say that because I can't be your everything. No way. I'm human. Like I'm not perfect. So to think you're going to get all your needs from an imperfect vessel when you got the like overflowing love of God that you can tap into, don't put that burden on me. Like don't put that weight on me. I'll do my best. And I'm pulling from the same fountain. And then over time I realized I gotta be married to an athlete. Because I dated once and the girl was non-athletic and I was like, I just can't do it. And so that was where the 4th one came in. So during this process of dating, literally everything started culminating into, oh my gosh, it's Cheyna. I didn't realize that though until Cheyna had to get tickets to a soccer game. The U.S. Women's National Team was playing in Philly. Remember, I'm in Philly, she's in D.C. My teammate, Zach Ertz, his wife is Julie Ertz. Yep. So Zach could get the ticket hookup. And so I'm like, hey, Zach, like this friend I have is, you know, mine.
And we hadn't talked.
We hadn't talked in a long time.
And I was like, you know, I think I know somebody that can get us some tickets. Yeah. One of my friends came into town and we were like, oh, we'll drive to Philly. Go to
Were you dating at the time?
Yes.
No.
Okay.
Me and you weren't dating.
No, we weren't dating. You were dating someone.
You were dating someone. Okay.
Yes. And mine, that's why that's another reason why I respect, you know, my wife so much is that she was extremely respectful in the fact that she was dating someone. Like we knew we had this connection. I think she still knew that. But at the same time, when she was going to be serious about, you know,
trying to figure out if that
was going to be. And so, but when she had hit me up, I was like, oh yeah, sure, I can get you tickets. And it wasn't until I saw her and had to like give her the tickets, I was like, oh my goodness, what am I doing? She's right here, you know? But, and I won't get into any of the other stuff, but like, most like some stuff had transpired to where Cheyna became single, and I just stayed back. But that whole time, I could not get that thought out of my head. I was like, she's the one. She's the woman I'm attracted to. She's the woman who is my best friend. She had recently got baptized, and she was very serious about just her spirituality and her walk. And she was athletic. Like she was somebody I can go hoop with my wife. You know what I mean?
And
like,
I beat him sometimes.
That's not true.
I do beat you in horse.
Come on.
Whoa. Come on. Let's be honest.
I mean, I will say this. We played home run derby. Went back to my home and this is during the pandemic. It's like nobody's outside. And
I'm pregnant.
And she was pregnant.
Yeah.
We went to a baseball field, a like little league baseball field, basically, and we took some tennis balls out there and some bats. It's me, my dad, my wife, my brother, and we all play home run derby. And my wife is able to step in and play with us. Like, to me, that's super cool. Like, I needed that in a partner, and so I'm just sitting there like, oh my gosh, she's everything that I'm thinking about. And so when she finally became single, I was at this concert with Kraus, and I think she sent it on Snapchat because she wanted the message to delete immediately.
That was definitely why.
Yeah, immediately after she expressed how she felt. She's like, I don't want this out here in the universe too long. But she texted me. She said, "I miss you," and I was just like,
"Whoa!"
It was like the floodgates had opened.
You texted her and you're like, "Will you marry me?"
Basically, in a few long texts, he basically said that.
Basically, you know, Cheyna asked, and this is why I love my wife too. Is she was one of the first people who was just real with me, right? I would get to college and I used to get so upset with some of my friends. Sorry, this is before I thought girls and guys could be friends.
Yeah,
but some of my friends that were girls would be like, okay, I knew they wanted a relationship. They did. But they would just date guys whimsically. And I'm like, hey, what do you actually want out of this? And they'd be like, oh, I'm just trying to kick it. I'm like, dude, you know that's not what you want. Like, your methods are not helping to match your desired outcome. And guys are going to take advantage of this all day. Cheyna was upfront with what she wanted. And so Cheyna was like, what does being in a relationship look like? Because I've seen you in college. I've seen you be unfocused. I've seen you not, I've seen football be the main thing more than maybe your relationships with people. Like, what does it look like to really date me? And so then at that point, I was like, here's what it is. I can't remember exactly what I said, but it was along the lines of, like, I'm here for you. I'm not going to do that thing where I'm like, oh, we're not exclusive, so I'm going to text other people right now. Like, no, like, I'm only talking to you.
Yeah.
I'm going to invest in you. I'm going to figure out, like, if what we have started is what, like, can potentially be forever. But I said, I'm looking for us to be married. Like, I think you are my wife. And that was, at that point.
Yeah, we had gotten engaged like
9 months later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and then we got married. We actually got married 8 months before our wedding. We had like we got married in Philadelphia, just us two.
Just us.
And no one knew except like my parents and like
that's awesome.
My siblings.
I almost wish we would have done that.
It was just cool.
I want to hear 3 quick stories.
Sure.
1, how did J-Matt propose? Today's episode is brought to you by the Cord Blood Registry, aka CBR.
If you have been a Couple Things listener for a while, you may have heard us mention Cord Blood Registry when we were pregnant with Drew, and now we are going to do it again with Little Man.
That's right. We actually just did a live stream last week with Ari and Lauren Lyondike talking about CBR and why we chose to pursue preserving cord blood.
And why they are choosing to do it. They did it with Alessi, and now they're doing it with their twins.
We actually sat down with the CMO, the chief medical officer over there, and got her input on everything, which was cool. But CBR is the leader in newborn stem cell preservation, and for good reason. They have world-class facilities and a team of experts who do everything they can to ensure your baby's newborn stem cells are safe, secure, and available in the future if you need them to protect your family's health.
Pay attention here. We're going to throw a lot of information at you because we love this so much. And they do not stop at preservation. They are actively investing in research and clinical trials too. Storing your child's stem cells today can give you access to the scientific breakthroughs of tomorrow. And they're working to make sure those breakthroughs are actually going to happen.
If you aren't familiar with CBR, their team uses these tiny little cells to treat over 80 diseases and conditions like sickle cell anemia, leukemia, and other blood cancers. But what's really exciting are the possibilities of the future.
Yes, because newborn stem cells could end up helping a lot of conditions that are far more common to us all. They are being studied for their role in regenerative medicine and could be used to help immune disorders, tissue damage, and even conditions related to COVID-19.
CBR collects your newborn stem cells with your baby's cord blood and cord tissue when you give birth. You only have one opportunity to do this, so enroll to get your kit today.
And yes, we can answer every single question. You can still do cord clamping. It does not hurt the baby. It does not hurt you. It's truly just an after the fact thing that you can do to kind of add extra insurance.
That's right. So if you're interested, harness the possibilities by going to cordblood.com right now.
Use code CPLE to get $500 off collection and a free preservation kit.
Once again, that code is CPLE. Go to cordblood.com and get your free preservation kit today. We'll also link it down below. And let's get back to it.
My bad.
It was amazing.
You said you want a quick story.
Well, no, give me the deets here.
Oh, it was magical.
Oh, I thought it was going to be disappointing there for a second.
No.
Oh
no.
No, the engagement. I will say this. So we did have a very great engagement. So we're driving down this random road. It's pitch black. I'm like, where are you taking me? Like, what is going on? Next thing you know, we're in this building and it doesn't look like a restaurant. So I'm like, I'm starving at this point. Like, what is going on?
Bunker.
And I see like pictures of helicopters. I'm like, are you on a helicopter? I'm like, and he goes, yeah, that's exactly what we're doing. And so at this point, I'm thinking engagement.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, like he's gonna propose to me like on a helicopter ride or something. And we end up landing like on the Vanderbilt stadium. It was a beautiful ride. The sky was clear. It's my first time.
Wait, you took a helicopter and landed on the field?
Yeah.
Bro.
What?
That's really cool.
Yeah.
It was sick. We literally got to tour Nashville. I guess he got like Coach Franklin's helicopter people to like let us do this. And we had talked about before that was something I'd never done and something I like wanted to do one day. And he had been on one. He's like, oh yeah, we'll do it one day. But so it wasn't like off, I guess super out of pocket that was something that he chose for a date because we hadn't been on a date in a while. I'm like, this is the best date ever, and I'm like, is he gonna propose to me? But when we landed on the football field, I knew just how important it was for him to like separate himself like as a football player.
Propose to my wife on a football field.
So I was like, surely he's not gonna I'm like, okay, this isn't a proposal because we're like landing on a football field. I'm like, he's not gonna do that. Like, so I knew at that point, I'm like, okay, this isn't a proposal. This is actually just like a great date. And so at this point, we're getting off. I'm like, this was fun, but I'm starving. Can we go eat? He's like, actually, the reservations that we have aren't until 9. So do you want to like maybe just get something to eat real quick and like go to the pub? Because we're back at Vanderbilt.
Oh, shoot, man.
And so,
remember the pub?
And we went every Monday.
Right?
So it was like a no-brainer for us to go and get
the pub. Who drove us?
Oh, David Williams.
The late great.
No, wow.
David Williams.
He drove us.
Bro.
Yeah,
he picked us up at the stadium.
He
was
picked
one
us
to
up.
turn the lights on
because he had a black like Explorer, like a
looked like Uber Black.
Yeah, so I didn't even know he was in. I'm like, oh, what's up?
That did change my life, man.
With everybody.
Yeah, he's
the man.
Rest in peace. But so he drove us. He's like, yeah, I'll drop you guys off here. He made it super casual, like was in on the plan.
Yeah.
Super casual. He was like, yeah, I'll drop you guys off. It's right around the corner. We're like, okay, good. I'm starving. So I'm like, all right, I know I'm going to get a quesadilla. Like, I don't care where we're going to have to eat after, but I'm starving. So we get there and there's like nobody there. It's like late. I'm like, why? Like, how are we going to get into the pub? He's like, I don't know. Let's just go up there and see. He had transformed the pub into like a fine dining where we had a butler that was dressed up. There was white tablecloth at the booth that we always sat at. Flowers, just the works, right?
But then buffalo quesadillas were still on the table.
Buffalo quesadillas were there because he knew that was like my go-to. And I don't know how I used to. When I think about what I used to eat in college, I eat buffalo chicken quesadillas before practice. Every Monday. Anyways.
Yeah, come on, man.
So he had the quesadillas out and I'm like, wow, like this is still to this point. I'm like, this is the best date ever. Like he transformed the pub. Like I never would have expected this.
Bring it out.
No one was in there. It was literally just to us. And when we would go out to eat, he always wrote like a cute message, like in our dessert, like had the waiter or somebody like write something cute, like in chocolate. And so I was always looking forward to like what the plate was going to say, like when it comes out. And it's dessert time. We had a great dinner. I'm reading the dessert and it says, congrats. I'm like, congrats for what? Like, what's going on? And then he pulls me out of the booth and that's when he proposes. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And he knew I didn't want to be in front of like people when that happened because I'm just like kind of awkward. I don't know. And there was just somebody there to take pictures. And so when I saw the camera, I was like, wait, is this really happening? And that was it. He proposed.
And then we left and then we went home.
We went home. Well, it was the way he knows like I'm onto him, but the way he did this, like I had no idea. So he goes, yeah, like don't call your family. Cause the first thing I want to do is like call my people. So we get in the car and he's like, no, don't call them. He's like,
for a little bit.
Let's just, us two, just spend this time. They all know what's going on. He's like, that's why they probably weren't answering your calls because they didn't want to ruin anything. I'm like, oh, that's why my sisters and brothers didn't answer. So he goes, I know you want to change into some more comfortable shoes, probably. So let's go back to the condo. Let's dress up. Get out of these clothes and let's go hang out. I'm like, heck yeah. Like, this is a perfect night. Like, all right. So we get back to the condo. My entire family's there.
Wow.
There's decorations. It's like, congratulations. So we had our engagement party the night of the engagement. And I'm just like floored at this point, like crying, like cannot believe it because like the people I wanted to spend it with the most were there. And so I don't know how you were able to pull this off, but I was just floored. Yeah. Then midnight, when we're partying, we're like having drinks, like playing games, like everybody's there. It's just like this big celebration. And so then he goes, hey, let's go out. Come on, we got to go somewhere. I'm like, where are we going? It's midnight. Like, everyone's here. The party is here. We get in the car and at midnight there was a billboard that he had put up and it said, congrats, Jordan and Cheyna.
It was on West End.
On West End. A billboard.
Near Chili's.
Right near Chili's. Yeah, right near Chili's. And it had a picture of me in like Vanderbilt soccer, action shot of me with Vanderbilt soccer stuff on and him with like Vanderbilt football stuff on. So it was like super special. Yeah. I was not expecting that at all.
Work. Lightest.
And he was like so calm and cool the whole night that like I maybe thought, the only time I thought maybe I was being proposed to was the helicopter. But then when we land on the field, I'm like, nah, that's not going to happen.
Yeah. No shade to guys that propose their girls like during football games. But honestly, my dad, I gotta mention him because I saw this dude every single Christmas, Valentine's Day, birthday. He would always try and go all out. Always trying to go all out for my mom. Like he'd be like, all right, boys, what y'all think of this? I'm like, Dad, we're 3. Like we don't, but he really wanted
still to this day,
he wants to get a good gift. He wants to do a good job. And so I never bought that bull crap about don't go too hard in the beginning because then you're supposed to be able to keep it up. I'm like, that sounds like somebody who's afraid that they can't keep it up. You feel me? And I'm like, I can keep that junk up. Like I want to challenge it. You know what I'm saying? And so that was the biggest
I still don't know
thing.
where we're going out to eat.
Yeah, ever. It's just like, no, go hard and then take time, recalibrate, and just figure out another way. Because going hard the next time might be just a perfectly written letter. It might not have to be a helicopter. Don't think it's always these things. And so, but Cheyna deserved that. She deserved an experience. And that helicopter ride around Nashville was fun, but it was scary though too.
Oh yeah,
we kind of close to the ground, and so she couldn't wait.
Wasn't a short story.
She really couldn't wait to land.
Yeah.
But
I was also starving too.
That's why you said quick. I was like,
that's a good story.
It was awesome, man. It's awesome. We got a lot of great ones, man. I mean, we were telling y'all about the birthday party she threw for me. Remember the casino night? So Cheyna can do it, man. She can put it together.
Well, I watched you. That's literally it. I'm like, all right, I have some ideas now.
Dang. I was gonna ask about you telling the story about you playing in a World Cup game, Cheyna, but in the interest of time, I would just love to hear your mission behind your athletic wear that you got going on right now.
So I decided to come out with my own athletic wear for moms, and really, it came to me. I think my first pregnancy with Josiah, I muscled up the energy to just kind of wear whatever I was wearing. And also I was pregnant in the summer. So I wore a lot of shorts, kind of just big tank tops, stuff like that. The clothes weren't necessarily as important. But I just knew I didn't have leggings that fit right. I knew I didn't have, they didn't come up high enough, or for me to have such an athletic build, sometimes they just didn't fit right. And so
must be tough to have such an athletic build.
right, yeah.
But I figured, I'm like, there has to be other women out there that, you know, experience the same things, where it's like you grow out, you know, like, you still want to work out, you still want to feel supported, you know? So, this time around when I became pregnant again, was during the pandemic. So I had a lot of time to think of like, you know, what could I do to change my comfort right now? You know, I'm not able to get into a gym, you know, as often. But what can I do to make sure I'm still being my most confident self through this pregnancy? Because with the pandemic, with pregnancy, you know, you just like, you have insecurities, you mood swings, like all these things. I'm like, what's going to make me feel better right now? And so that's where Seated Sweat was kind of born. And I came out with leggings. I'm actually wearing them now that support underbelly. They're sweat wicking. They actually they're very comfortable, but they're not necessarily the most loungy. They're definitely for high performance athletes, high performance moms. I mean, you could be doing high performance just lifting your child, your 2-year-old, and you got a newborn. So I just wanted to create something that would be super comfortable for women in pregnancy. I've got leggings. I've got actually nursing sports bras that I have on under here. I've got
nursing hoodie.
Yeah. I've got
the hoodie's amazing.
Thanks. I'm getting you one.
And when's the website?
I actually have a website right now. I'm getting emails from people. It's seatedsweat.com, where you can sign up for my email list, and all of the launch will be this year, 2021.
Damn.
And how'd you come? And tell them how the name Seated Sweat came about.
Okay,
so it's a great name.
Yeah, so you can kind of see the logo here, but it looks like maybe a mom carrying a seed, but it also could be a nipple for those who are a little bit more for like nursing
or the sweat.
So the name came. The baby is the seed, and it could be for pregnancy and postpartum, which is like you still have your little baby seed, but now they're here and ready to grow. So just wanted to create something that was the right material for high intensity workouts, because we'll have some leggings that they come up high enough, but the material is like, okay, I want to just lay down now. I can like sleep in these. So I wanted it to encourage people to train. What's the best material what are the materials I like to train in? What are the materials I like to sweat wick? So like I actually wore a different set this morning, changed into this one. But yeah, just like stuff that you can actually work out in and feel confident in it. So
it's really cool. It's really cool.
I have some sets for you coming next month.
Great.
But
thank you.
I think you'll really like them.
I'm excited. Gosh, it's been a minute since we've actually gotten to interview someone, so I forgot what the question was. Yeah. We asked the same question to every single couple. What is the best piece of advice you would give or have been given about relationships?
My mom's advice. My mom's advice for sure. Don't take anything personal. Nah, it's very important though that you be with the person that you're supposed to be with, because then I think, because some stuff, like if you're with a jerk, then it's like, okay, he meant that.
Yeah.
But me and Cheyna both know we're on the same team. We want the
as
same
long as you know
outcome.
you're on the same team. Yeah.
And my mom told us, I was like, well, I'll give us some advice. She said, don't take anything personal. And that is the best advice, like for real, because we have bad days. We have days where we say things that we might not mean, or I might take longer to do a task she told me to because I'm just annoyed, but it's not because I'm, like just want to be a jerk. It's just circumstances. But she's not just thinking like, he doesn't love me anymore. He doesn't want to, contribute. It's just like, no, he's having a bad day. And so that was really good. And you would think it was going to be something mushy, but it really matters. It's one of the 4 agreements, actually, in that book that's very popular. Is don't take anything personal. So that's
definitely
the one. Shout out to Mama.
Dang.
I love that.
Well, Jordan, we've known each other coming up on 11 years now. Shayna, I feel like this is a real first conversation, even though we've known each other for a while.
Known about you probably more.
Even though our teammates always talked about you. Now you get to finally meet her. Yeah.
But it's fun to think about all the phases that we've been through together, and all the phases that we're gonna go through. I'm even more excited about. So
I'm excited for you guys with baby number 2. It gets real crazy.
Lord help us.
It gets and I don't have 2 under 2. So look, Prayers.
Thank you.
Patience.
Thank you.
You guys got it.